It doesn't get any better than this, dude.
Hello. Audio difficulties. Are we having audio difficulties here on the Cold Reality Radio on the UCY Broadcasting Network? Everything seems to be, when I did the check in the beginning. Can anyone hear me out there? This is Shaliak. This is my show. Here, my audio. I am connected to UCY Radio. Okay. Welcome. That was my prospective opening. That was my prospect, but it kind of fell short. What I was really trying to say was, I guess that's what I was trying to say. I guess that's what I wanted to get out of my system this morning. All right. All right, so as I said, Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. Sunday, July 14th. We are halfway through the summer. Somebody turn off the heat pump. Somebody turn it off. It's just been, oh, hey, look at that. I'm looking up in the sky and there's a beautiful, beautiful white line going from horizon to horizon. Anyone looking at it would know that it's absolutely and totally bizarre, but God only knows why we put up with what we put up with. And of course, most of it is known that we do it because it's done incrementally and it's always done for our own safety and the betterment and the common good. Right? The common good. The common good. Who could be against anything that's done for the common good? Who could be against it? Well, nobody seems to be against anything that's done for the common good. But then again, no research is ever done to find out what's actually going on. We just take for granted. We take for granted that the system is doing what's right for all of us. It's doing what's right for all of us, and evidently, on some level, last night or some point this weekend, George Zimmerman was acquitted of the crime of manslaughter, murder, whatever the hell this jacked up legal system had accused him of. He was acquitted of the murdering of Trayvon Martin. Now, we haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen any violence break out, and hopefully we won't. Hopefully we will not see any of that. Oh, there goes there's Ralph Macchio there in Crossroads. That is a classic movie and guitar battle. Of course, he is going up against Steve Vai in that video. I suggest that you all watch that video and watch, I believe his name is Baker. And he too, like Ralph Macchio, their very souls are on the line because the devil has come for both of them. Jack Baker is Steve Vai's name. He doesn't talk. He just plays guitar. Steve Vai is an absolute, he's like Godzilla on guitar. He played with many different organizations, many different bands. Frank Zappa, mainly, probably the first. And he's one of the most exceptional guitar players in the world today that we've heard of. And of course, he battles with Ralph Macchio, and Ralph Macchio beats him, which is totally bogus, but that's just the way the movie goes. It's Jack Butler. Jack Butler, he goes to hell, and Ralph Macchio, saves his soul. Who's going to save our souls? Is it one day, if my soul's on the line, do I have to be like, will I have to do that to save my soul one day? Maybe. We're all going to have to do something at some point to turn around what we're seeing today, we're seeing more and more chaos. We're seeing more and more everything being ripped apart, shredded, inverted, common sense out the window. Some people say common sense isn't so common. Well, I guess I'm kind of buying that because it's just gotten out of control. Like Art and his guests this morning saying, I don't understand what it's going to take. We're being told that we have no rights. We're being told that we have nothing. You know, basically just pay your taxes and shut up. Pay your taxes and shut up, okay? Or something. And so, we sit here and we shake our heads when we pay attention to it. But again, the problem is that there's not that very many people paying attention to what's going on. And if they're paying attention to what's going on, they're believing the lies of this system. They're believing a media that has lied to them so many times. That there's, I mean, if the media was a person in someone's life and they lied that much, I mean, wouldn't the obvious next step be to dismiss them totally? Like the boy who cried wolf? I mean, there are documentaries after documentaries that I didn't even know existed. One called Orwell Turns Over in His Grave, and this is a real promising, bit of information, because you think that on some level there's not a whole lot of people paying attention. But there are people that are paying attention. There are people that first and foremost, well, whatever it takes, whatever path they choose to get to enlightenment, whatever that means to you, I know what it means to me. Whatever path they take, if it's only to realize that the media is picking and choosing what stories that they broadcast out and what stories that they do not. And then I'm sitting to myself and I'm thinking, is anybody besides the group, the UC Wires and the Oracle broadcasters from the path that I walked along to get to UCY here, are we the only ones that are seeing that they're not reporting something? They're not reporting things that any reporter, any journalist would be drooling profusely to be able to have their name on the story. Boom. The story that would perpetuate that or propel them into journalism, the annals of journalism. Okay. And the thing here is that you go back and you look at the Ron Paul rally with all these military people. And this is key. This is key because this explains a whole lot of it. Next to none of the major networks covered any of it because, and this is the key, and this is pretty obvious to most people, why that was not broadcasted out, is because the system is using these military people, without these order followers, they cannot perpetuate this agenda. Without the order followers to invade countries like Libya and Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, there's no agenda. There's no fucking agenda. There's no nothing. That's why that the people giving the orders, very, very minuscule responsibility for what actually happens. The people following the orders, it's all on you. It is all on you. The order followers that do what they're told. And I guess it goes back to our education system. Can you follow orders? How many times has somebody been upset with you in the workplace or in school or somewhere in your life and they said to you, can't you just follow some easy fucking orders? Seriously, really? OMG. Whoever you're dealing with. And that's what you've been taught to do. You've been taught, I don't want thinkers, I want workers, people that are going to follow orders. People that are going to follow orders. And it's on you. Now, I was presented with this internet meme just the other day that was pretty powerful. The person who put it out on Facebook took a boatload of structural damage as a result of putting it out there. And of course, in the picture, there's the three stooges, the last three banker puppets, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and this jive turkey jackass, Barack Obama. And in the middle of the picture is a Arab man carrying a beautiful little child, beautiful little girl, maybe 5, 6, 7, I don't know, maybe like 8, 10 years old, somewhere in there. The age matters, and the child has been devastated by some form of warfare. And her father or her grandfather is carrying her to safety, to help, for medical help, which they don't get. I'm sure they don't get because, their resources have been cut off to them by you-know-who over there. And then on the right side are the soldiers. There's soldiers there. There's 3 or 4 U.S. soldiers there. And on the left, it's like the presidential picture says, I'm not responsible for this. And on the right, it says, we're not responsible for this. And it's the question is, who here is telling the truth? Well, the presidents are basically telling the truth. We're not responsible for this, what happened to that child. The order followers are responsible. The order followers are responsible for that child, whether she lives a normal life or she lives a life where she's had a limb blown off, or if she doesn't live at all. And that's where we're at. We've been so just ridiculously manipulated. I saw a documentary the other night. It was Ali Frazier was on HBO, Ali Frazier, and it was all about the first boxing match, the fight between Ali, some say the greatest fighter in the history of the sport, and Joe Frazier. And as I'm looking at this documentary, it gets to the point where the Vietnam War becomes a reality. Why? How? Through the media, through the manipulation empire, the Gulf of Tonkin, and then even guys like McNamara, the Secretary of Defense at the time, made a documentary called The Fog of War. And in that fog of war, I mean, he's a much older man who's realized what he's done. Believe me, he's realized what he's done, or what he was part of. The order follower, okay? And he says, I think we were attacked that day. I think we were attacked that day. So he was not even ultimately in control of what was happening in that area. Even he was lied to. And then, of course, boom, we were attacked. Sound familiar? We got to do something. And then the war drums start beating. And so a young black man, Cassius Clay, a fighter, is told, hey, you're gonna be fighting in this war. And Frazier was absolved from going because he had a family, and there was whatever reasons there were back then to get you to fight for your country, to lie to you and fight for your country. And then, of course, he was demonized by everyone because the system says you fight for your country because there's all the bullshit, all the communists. If we don't stop them over there, they're coming over here. Bullshit. They were already here. They were already here. And yet, thousands and thousands and thousands of American soldiers, the order followers, lost their lives. And some say, it's honorable to follow orders, and that's the way the military is created the way it is. It's created to, break things down into units, compartmentalization, and everybody is in, you're in this one, you're in that one. You like that drum? And then, of course, Cassius Clay, who eventually, I believe, he might have been Muhammad Ali at that time. I'm not sure. It was a fascinating documentary, but of course he was demonized as a young black man because he did not want to participate, a conscientious objector in this war of aggression against the evil communists. We got to stop them. Creating our enemies, manipulating both sides, manipulating the North, manipulating the South, going in there to protect the South from the communists of the North. And it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, but how many people today still believe the original stories of Vietnam, Korea, World War I, World War II? How many people actually still believe this stuff to this day? It's the reason why, and we kind of know this, the reason why all these things are coming together now, the reason why the police state's being built up around us is because this information cannot be hidden and contained much longer. Health freedom will not be able to be contained much longer, and we're going to be talking about that today, and other things regarding health. Not health freedom so much, but alternative health with Jordan DeYoung and Jimmie Holman, and they're going to be joining me in at the top of the hour. I'm going to pull them in, gentlemen. If you're listening, I'm going to pull you into the conversation, and we're going to hit the ground running. If we have a lot of information and we want to keep on going, we'll request that Jules, not at this time, but we will request from Jules if we can go a second hour if we have the information to, the amount of information to keep it going, because that's one of the most important things. And as I said, well, truth is the ultimate most important thing, which we don't get very much of. And so the lies and the lies, the wars, more wars, we are... They've used a lot of money to be able to get us dumbed down to the point where we still believe the lies. I've got people that claim I know people that claim they have huge fucking, IQs, absolutely outrageous numbers in the high hundreds, but they still claim that Oswald was the only fucking shooter there that day. Are you fucking kidding me? But yet that person with strong conviction will stand there and say, I'm the one who's uninformed or misinformed or not thinking for myself. So we've gotten to a point where those people that are that destroyed mentally are just going to be left behind. The people that understand and are out there saying, marijuana, it can be used to, you fight cancer. It can be used to do this. It can be used to do that. It can be used to do so many things. Duh, right? That's why it's illegal. Maybe they didn't know the healthful benefits of it when they decided to. Ultimately, the goal was to bring the drugs in. Anything that was considered a drug, anything that would alter your consciousness and make it illegal, because they knew people, and then don't do drugs. People are going to do it. You tell a kid, don't put your hand on that stove, it's hot. He's probably going to do it. And in most cases they do. And then guess what? Never going to do it again. But as we move forward here, the information cannot be contained anymore. It cannot be the lies of government, the lies of the system. So, butter's bad for you. It causes heart disease. Use this. I can't believe it's not butter. Well, I can't believe people are eating poison. I still have people that I've told, that I've said to them, and they've even come to me and said, yeah, I stopped drinking diet soda. Yeah, man, I feel a whole lot better. The other day, a bunch of us go out. What do these people order? A Diet fucking Coke. I'm just blown away, man. I'm just blown away by the willful ignorance. Even when I'm told point blank from a good coworker, good friend over the last 10 years, I feel so much better now that I've not had any Diet Coke. I really, really do. And then, of course, the last few times Diet Coke. I've got to learn to separate myself from the frustration because it's mind-boggling. It really, really, truly is. And of course, that's why, as I said, the police state building up because this information can absolutely not be contained anymore. It's sneaking out. It's getting out. The Federal Reserve's not a private, is a private central bank. Interesting story. I have a friend of mine who has a number of members in her family that let's just say they've been exposed to me. I haven't been exposed to them. And I would talk about so many different things about this, that. And of course they just sit there and they're like, they'll just say something inane. They won't understand it. They'll think that I'm, against Barack Obama when I actually voted for him. Really kind of like the last time I'm ever going to vote for a Republican or a Democrat. I'll probably just vote for an independent or something like that, just to exercise my rights. So, I get this email that was sent to us through her, and it was, basically, Thomas Jefferson saying all the things that he said about maybe 5, 6 or 7 quotes from old Thomas. And the quotes like, when we get piled upon one another in large cities, as in Europe, we shall become as corrupt as Europe. Other ones like, let's get down those. They're in red, color-coded. The democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who would not. Okay? And it is incumbent on every generation to pay its own debts as it goes, a principle which, if acted on, would save 1/2 the wars of the world. See, but of course the social engineers knew all of this stuff and said, we're going to bastardize this, we're going to bastardize that, we're going to create debt, we're going to do everything that is the opposite of freedom, opposite of liberty. I predict future happiness for Americans if they can prevent the government from wasting the labors of people under the pretense of taking care of them. All right? And of course we have, my reading of history convinces me that most bad government results from too much government. We've heard this time and time again. No free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms. The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is as the last resort to protect themselves against tyranny in government. And of course we have, the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. So this was forwarded by someone that I've been talking to, that I've been trying to have conversations with. Well. To compel a man to subsidize with his taxes the propagation of ideas which he disbelieves and abhors is sinful and tyrannical. Meaning, taking money from people that doesn't belong to you is theft, and that's sinful and tyrannical, and cut it the fuck out. But no. And of course, that's why the British, backed by the Rothschild banking cartel, was booted up the ass over the ocean waters. But they didn't stop because they're bloodthirsty fucks. And they were never going to stop. They were never, ever going to stop. So we have what we have today. And of course, Thomas Jefferson said in 1802, I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. If the people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, basically financial terrorism is what we're seeing today, the banks and the corporations, i.e. Monsanto, Halliburton, General Electric, many more, that will grow up around the banks will deprive the people of all property, okay, foreclosures, until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered, okay? Now, I said to this person in an email, I sent it to my friend, and she vetted it to see if it had anything in there that would be inflammatory, because she doesn't want to foment, unrest like Barack Obama. Oh, Trayvon, he could be my son. He could be, wow. He probably is your son. Created explicitly to have this happen in the hopes that you can have the white people and the black people hating each other enough so that we kill one another, and then you'll have to just burn the bodies. So I said, I was pleased to get this email from you via your sister. Having said this, I am not a great speaker or the brightest bulb on the tree. I am not the brightest bulb, but I'm trying. I am, however, trying to enhance these areas of my life before it ends at some point. I don't have the credentials of a man such as Jefferson by far. My statement is this. I have been saying things similar to the points that Jefferson made in history to you and many other people that I cross paths with. Things like this slow creeping tyranny that is being implemented by banks and government. Taxation is theft, and that the creation of a dependent class is part of the destruction and ultimately the divide and conquer of America. My friend and I, your sister, blah, 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 have experienced these same events. Very important. This is because it explains a lot. Number one, we talk to people about specific topics that we feel are of the utmost importance. And of course, that's what I do. That's why I have my show. Should add some cowbell here to my show to beating the war drums again. We feel are of the utmost importance, just like, Art's show this morning and Joel's every day and whatever you want to say about the Jones Corporation, whatever you want to say. Everybody believes that there's we're truly in times that, we're a powder keg, powder keg, poo-poo. Things are going to get bad. Number two, people take in what we are saying and have some form of opposition to it. Cognitive dissonance, you might imagine. Argue some point regarding the information and make us feel uninformed, or that our view of the topic or topics is skewed in some way, shape, or form. Number three, the person that we had the conversation with hears something or reads something from someone else who is obviously more intelligent or a more viable source of information. Number four, the information that they gathered is sent out to us through email or conveyed in person. Five, we are left, my friend and I, trying to figure out why it took some third-party source of information in this case Jefferson, that is more viable than when we were sharing the information, leaving us to think, is it just easier to dismiss and discount information from the people close to us? Number 6, in most cases, people tend to believe complete strangers' opinions on things rather than family or friends. Okay, sheer truth. Number 7, people will believe the lies of a politician, Bush, Obama, Clinton, aka also known as proven banker-funded puppets, pre-chosen by the richest scumbags in the world to ensure their collective monopolies on the control of energy and anything else of importance is protected at all costs, because they would not want to empower the world's population in any way whatsoever, which is the essence of ultimate control. All right? So back to, people will believe the lies of a politician before they believe a family member or friend, because we have been indoctrinated into the oldest game in the toolkit of the Communist Manifesto called divide and conquer. So I hope that she's going to read this and understand that it's just really, really rude to say to me, you dismiss me or dismiss people. Of course, as I said in previous last few weeks, actually yesterday was week 4 of a natural law seminar where I'm learning, and several others are learning about natural law. I'm not going to go into it too deep until I've grasped it in a much more detailed manner, and of course apply it to my life the way we all should apply natural law, not the bastardized version of, oh, we need to take your money for the common good. We need to take your money for this. We need to take your money for that. We need to take your money because the banks need a bailout and they're too big to fail. We need to take your money because, but the bottom line is that they are stealing from you. They are stealing your money. And they're not going to stop. And the first American Revolution started for much, much less taxation, which means the American people are just a punching bag getting kicked in the collective groins by government. And of course, if you break down government, it is basically, if you break it down in Latin, it's control of the mind. Government, mens means mind, and governare means control. So mind control. They're controlling your mind. They are government. They are necessary, wretched beasts like Nancy Pelosi, who never saw a tax that she didn't want to take, or never saw a law that she didn't want to yay to, that meant she gets more of your fucking money and gets more of her friggin' facelifts and botulism shot into her ass neck, okay? And that's why you see the police state being built up around you, because this information cannot be contained anymore. So what happens, like we've heard so many times, police state getting built up around, and of course wars and rumors of wars. And of course we are basically, we've been starting World War III for a long time, but officially with Iraq and Libya and Syria now, of course. And I guess the good news is there's an audio video clip on there from RT that I watched last night that evidently, the Al-Qaeda backed, the West backed Al-Qaeda, NATO, UN, and of course the United States government backing Al-Qaeda, of course in Libya and of course in Syria and everywhere they need to exact regime change. And then of course they took a little detour about 12 or so years ago and decided to blame Al-Qaeda for, for the New York City attacks. Okay. So, we're backing these people and they're not doing so well. They're not doing so well. And, Assad has upper hand, it seems. Maybe he's getting help from Russia. Maybe he's getting help wherever he's getting help from. And so Israel takes it on upon themselves to start bombing from the air. Of course, with, materials and weapons that we gave them, the ones that they bomb and kill Palestinian children when they leave school at 3:00 in the Middle East. So we're fighting terrorism, but we support terrorism when it comes to Israel. So who controls who? Who is the master? And who is the order follower? I will tell you, Israel is the master and America is the order follower. And we are going to pay for our following of the orders. We are all going to pay. All this stuff is being done in our name. Our tax dollars are going over there to kill children. And it's completely okay because we're living the American dream. Ha ha, we're living the American dream, like the kid from The Simpsons. Ha ha. That's government. That's the asshole government. They're like, ha ha, we're stealing everything from you and we're doing in the world what we want to do in your name. And then someday, after we sell America out from underneath your feet, the roads, the bridges, the everything, after we do that, then, we'll have a Red Dawn type scenario where, the communists, the ones that Barack Obama hires to come into the country to help, kill all the people that the, black and white people in that racial, ethnic, whatever cleansing situation, it's all about killing people. It's all about murder. It's all about you dying. It's all about poisoning your water, poisoning your food. There's no getting around it anymore. We know fluoride is a toxic substance. It's mass drugging. I'm having a conversation with two women at work. They need my help. I'm working on their computers, and I start having a conversation with them. And then there's a woman out in the around the corner, out the door, around the corner. She's like, oh, if I hear any more of this, I'm just going to kill myself. And I'm like, really? I said, well, that is pretty much the reason why, America is on life support. Because everybody's just so fucking afraid. I'm so afraid. Fear, 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 fear. Fear. Fear of the unknown. Well, guess what? Keep being afraid. Keep being afraid, and then you're going to be more afraid when you get your black boot is stomping your fucking heads in. So after going outside and talking to the woman, it turns out that she works for a local government, local municipality, and she knows that fluoride is a deadly toxin that should not even be in our water, but is. Oh, she's like, I don't drink the water. So it's like, maybe she was joking and I just wanted to get out there and I said, hey, are you the one that made that comment? And I was like, no, I'm glad you did. No, I said, I'm glad you did. And she is well aware. But is she sharing this information with her other people and her friend? No, because what happens is everybody's afraid. She's afraid to say to this person, that person, because she could lose whatever she's getting from. She's going to lose it all eventually. But she's afraid of losing what she has now, her status, her everything. She's afraid to lose it. And as I said, she's going to lose it anyway, because that's just the plan. That's just the plan. All right. Let's go over a few news topics here before, the top of the hour, where we'll be talking about the thing that got me interested in and asking questions like, why would the FDA be going after this natural food? Why would they be going after this? Why would they be going after that? Why would they be going after B6? Why this? Why that? Because they don't want you to be able to be free. They want to dictate what goes into your body, which means if they control what goes into your body, you are a fucking slave. That's the way it goes. All right. So we've got more unrest over in, the continual unrest over in Egypt. That's being funded, Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda over there, the Muslim Brotherhood, which was created by the British. All these groups are created covertly to foment unrest throughout the world. And of course, and people are like, how come there's never peace in the Middle East? And all the beauty pageants and all this other stuff where the women say, or the young women who are brainwashed that say, I think that we should have cameras in. Meanwhile, she's like got her own website that they haven't found out about yet, where she, just lays on her bed all day and rolls around in her nightgown and, I think we should have cameras all over. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. But when they say things like, we have to, allow the government to do whatever it needs to do to keep us safe and all these other things and stuff and things like that and all those things. And where is Afghanistan on the map? And so just get it out. Just brainwash the people. Tell them what to say so that they can win the beauty contest. Oh, you're the prettiest girl today for a year until the next pretty girl comes in. But it's all brainwashing. It's all, there's some wretched fucking beast running the whole thing, male or female or both, running all these beauty pageants. Some wretched, filthy scumbag of a human being who should probably have their taint removed. And so, we fall further and further, and our youth becomes more and more indoctrinated into the government training facilities known as public schools and the institutes for higher education. The institutes for higher education. More bubbles, more loans, more debt, more raping of the American dream that really never was. But it's there. It's right within your grasp, the American dream. I'd like to take this short period here to welcome and say hello to any NSA, any foreign countries out there that have been paid by the West to spy on people talking about freedom and constitutional republics and things like that. The bad things that you can't talk about anymore in a world that's going, it's spinning fiendishly, devilishly out of control by design. And so I'm a little pissed off today because I'm good, man. I'm rocking. You got me rocking now. Hey, you got me rocking. I love my platform for free speech, ucy.tv. Please donate. Please go to my page, go to ucy.tv and donate to free speech. We don't know how long we're going to have it. We don't know how long we're going to be able to say things like freedom and I just want to eat clean food. I just want to drink clean water now is a terrorist statement that you can be tased. More and more, a story just the other day, a firefighter getting out of his car, with a wallet in his hand is shot by the authorities. You know, the authorities, the superstition known as authority, that I have authority over you. Despite the worst fears of many that this morning America might wake up to a redux of a flaming Compton or Watts, so far there's been no widespread riots. Thank God. I mean, people keep level heads. Who knows? We've got the new Black Panther party that is funded by Eric Holder, I'm pretty sure, to foment hate. And they were, of course, in Philadelphia with weapons, trying to get people not to come in, not to vote, trying to dissuade people from, their right to vote, which, on some level means absolutely nothing anymore because the technocracy has figured out a way to steer it. And all these elections, it was pointed out on a number of programs, that we've been getting all these 51 to 49s and 52 to 40 to 50, just all this shit. Okay, making it look like, oh, this is so close. And of course, all we have to do is go back to the 2000 election, which was stolen. But at this time, then we're thinking, damn that Bush, damn they stole this thing. But look, Al Gore, what the hell would that jackass have done? What the hell would that jackass have done any different? It would have just been, but they have to, it's all part of the left-right paradigm. You have to have that conservative in there so that they could, propagate the wars and do all these things and get people to hate Bush and hate Cheney, justifiably to hate them. But it's all about dividing us. It's not, your hate towards them divides you. Your hate towards and I'm not divided. I pretty much know what's happening, but I still hate Nancy Pelosi and scumbags like that. Puppets that just do whatever they're told. A little Cupid fucking doll who's basically like 107. But, she gets her weekly Botox shots and she still maintains that 60-ish thing. I'm not saying it's bad for women to try to enhance their beauty and stay young, but the bottom line here is the reason why people are aging so fast is because of the poisons in our water, the poisons in our food, the lack of information that comes from us not having the right nutritional information. The food pyramid is exactly what it is. It might as well be the pyramid on the dollar bill because it's completely not benefiting you. It's not benefiting you. It's making, and now, of course, alcohol. Alcohol ages you like nothing, like nobody's business. I, on the other hand, think that tequila is making me younger. So, I actually, a great story, and then I'm going to go ahead and start pulling in my guests here. Went out to bowl the other night, and so I went over the night before. I got some 1800 tequila, and I got some Patron tequila, so two of the bigger names. And I went over to Whole Foods, and I got some of this vitamin water, not the vitamin water, but the Whole Foods version of vitamin water. And I drank a little bit from each one of these, like 16-ounce containers. I poured like maybe 3 shots of the 1800 in one, 3 shots of the 1800 in the other. And I'm sitting there and I'm drinking, and there must have been some DMT or something in it, because I was playing pool and making shots on the billiard table that I had never, ever been able to make before. I always second guess. I always look at the board and be like, oh, should I move this way a little bit? Should I move that way a little bit? For some reason, I was seeing, and that I heard that song in my head. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all billiard balls on the table. Anyway, so I'm knocking this shit in like amazing. And of course, then I start talking about DMT, which I've never even, gotten involved in. And of course, you've never heard about this stuff on the corporate controlled box. Anyway, I shot the best games of pool that I ever played before, knocking in shots, running tables like Minnesota fats, like Minnesota fat ass. But anyway, I hope everybody out there in the chat room is doing good over there at ucy.tv/CRR, Cole Reality Radio. All right, so let us begin the important matters today. I'm just going to go over some of the 3 or 4 of these latest topics, and then we'll go over. Majority of the world says corruption is increasing in their countries. You think? That's because it is. The shadowy cartel of doctors that controls Medicare. Of course, Barack Obama and the Obamacare is going to push medicine from poison vaccines and blah, 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 all this other stuff, which is already happening and was happening before this jackass, jive turkey fraud of a human being like Bush and Clinton. Don't want to leave out the white presidents. This isn't a racial thing. This isn't, racism, which everybody will want to would want to turn it into. Obama's here to light speed you to your graves. Prism, everybody once was in on the act. Of course, everybody was in. Youth homicide rate lowest in 30 years. It's probably because they can't find jobs, so they're just, living like animals in the woods. Getting back to nature, if you will. If there are, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing because I wouldn't want to see anyone live in the woods with animals, but we might have to go back to that. But here's the problem. We could also have, in these areas of Agenda 21, I'm sure everybody's seen the Agenda 21, the United Nations agenda for the 21st century, where they're going to be, there's a video out there where it says, if you live in these areas, you won't live there anymore. If you live here, you won't live here anymore. So, and what they're trying to do is through, fake environmentalism, is they're trying to get animals back into, of course, guns kill the animals and the hunters and all that other stuff. So that's bad. That goes, what's his name? That, the guy, one of the Jewish guys in, Obama's administration, Weinstein or, some of them. I'll think of it as we go along, but, anyway, they're going to put, and I just got the report from InfoWars, weaponized baboons. Okay. It's true. Watch out when this happens, because if you're out in nature, there could be and probably will be weaponized baboons and other animals, weaponized wolves, weaponized. And they can do it. They've got the technology. It's just that we've not found out about it because we're the enemy. We're the enemy of humanity to the real enemies of humanity. This is not bullshit. The show is not bullshit. This is all unfortunately true. Except for maybe. You might never see a weaponized baboon, but, there have been chimeras. They have created chimeras. That's some kind of mix between, maybe Jordan will be able to spin a little bit of information on there. All right, so let's go. Let's see what we got here. We got, it's all impromptu. And here he is. Countdown. Actually, hold on a second. You made it. There?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Jordan, good morning.
Let me pause the radio on the site.
Sure, go ahead, no problem.
I got it.
All right.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just, I'm happy, I'm angry, and then I'm happy, and then I'm angry.
Don't say that. You'll have to take the bipolar medication for that.
I know, right?
They will make you do it.
They'll come to my door and be like, we heard that you're happy, then you're sad, then you're happy, then you're sad. Take this.
Yeah.
Right,
That plasma experimenter kit is out and it looks fantastic.
All right, we've got some incredible information here. I want to say, during the class, I ran into a few people, one of which had Lyme. I believe she said she had Lyme, or she wanted to get some, or knew somebody who had Lyme. And if you're out there, give a shout. I'm going to read the number. Feel free to call in. It is, what is that number? It's not here on the front page, is it? Oh, wow. Hold on. I might have to go to the front page to get the number. Let's see. And of course I'm going to have to, oh no, it's muted. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The number is, 718-717-8296. Again, the call-in number for Cold Reality Radio, where you can ask questions of Jordan DeYoung, Jimmie Holman, in the next hour, or if we if we decide to go, past, 1 o'clock, 718-717-8296 on the UCY.TV broadcasting network. So, and if you're listening, just go to, I don't think I saw the number on, wait a minute, is it the top of, anyway, if you go to UCY.TV, it'll be on that page. I'm pretty sure I didn't see it on my page. 1 second. Or maybe it is. No, I don't have no, I don't. If you go to UCY.TV, the number is on the home page of the broadcasting network. Okay. So did Jimmie say that he was going to, that he would, have a better, he would have a better connection if we called him on the phone number?
I don't think so. He said it might be a little bit clearer, but he wondered if you're going to pull him in. So I would just try to. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead, and he's online. I'm gonna go ahead and add him to the call now. See what we got.
Yeah, the thing about this plasma is it looks like it's just.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jimmie.
How's it going?
Sounds good. Thank you. You sounds very clear. Sounds nice.
Good.
We still got you? Okay. Jordan,
yeah,
saying?
Yeah, I was saying this plasma kit looks better. Just like the cuts and everything look cleaner than the $3,000 and $5,000 plasmas that I've done some testing on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's actually the kind of the point. There's not that much difference between that one and the others.
Okay, let's get started by Jimmie. Can you go ahead and put your credentials out there? Let everyone in the listening audience know who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Jimmie Holman. I've been involved with pulse technologies since the mid 90s. Got into it knowing it was all quackery. And so much of it actually is. But there's actually a lot of science as well. We have two different companies. One is Pulse Tech Research, which doesn't sell anything. And we have Pulse, Bioenergetics and Pulse Technologies, that is where the equipment is sold from. We have just put up actually the Pulse Tech website, which is the one y'all have been familiar with, just had a major facelift last night. And we'd planned on the Pulse Tech Research website going live this coming week. And to commemorate, or for this radio show, we got it up a little bit early. And the experimenter kit that y'all are talking about, that was planned for next month. But we thought this would be a good avenue, so we rushed that and got part one of that up as well. I've been involved with Rife technology since the mid 90s, and we've done our best to develop it far past what most of the others have done any way we could.
Okay.
And we've been quite successful.
Okay. Does Pulse Technologies, do they have a mission statement? What is the goal of Pulse Technologies? What is your personal goal with the research and everything that you've done up to this point and hope to do in the future?
Well, we've done our best to make equipment with Pulse Tech Research primarily does most of the study. The Pulse Tech, the sales is tried to make the equipment available in a form that people can use it themselves. Those people that are taking the matters of their own health into their own hands.
Well, those
are the people that are targeted, and where good, decent equipment is largely unavailable.
I guess that's not really, that sounds a little extreme. People taking their health into their own hands.
Yeah, well, we're getting to that time really quick where if you don't do that, you aren't going to have any.
Yeah, you aren't.
Regardless of what you pay for it.
Of course.
We're actually already at that stage.
Yes, exactly. And that's why this is, it shows like this and people like you and what you do and what Jordan does is so important, because people, look at doctors like they are deities, and they are trained in a system that is allopathic. Now there's some that have broken out of this and have realized what's going on just by human nature, to realize that, wow, what I'm doing, I'm not really helping people.
Well, those are the ones that are still practicing the healing art rather than the business of medicine.
Right.
And I think they refer to that now as integrative. They have to designate themselves some other way than the strictly allopathic model.
Right.
Which is, as I know you've talked about before, has just been a whole scam on the people, starting from the Rockefellers in 1907.
Yep, monopoly.
By the way, the Flexner report is one of the things we're posting out there on the new website.
What is that again, Jimmie?
The Flexner report. That was the report that was done by Rockefeller, under the Carnegie Foundation when Rockefeller decided he was going to invest heavily in petroleum and pharmaceuticals, or what was then the new pharmaceutical. He wanted to make sure that he had basically a captive audience, and a captive market for his products.
And of course, because they were
that's why they got rid of homeopathy.
Right.
And this was the report that did that. They hired Andrew Flexner to go around to every medical school. And I had a very difficult time finding that. Well, we're posting it.
And that's on pulsetech.com?
Actually, no, it's going to be on pulsetechresearch.com. It will be in the library section. We still have a lot to go up. I believe it's there already.
Okay.
It was undergoing a bunch of changes. There's hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 more documents to go up. There's already thousands of pages there, whether it, one way or another. Okay. We've got most of the rife documents and things like that there. For people that just want to get in and learn more about it, this is about that. The research website is about learning, and we're going to have it broken into various areas. There's a lot of basically our family scrapbook is up, which shows a lot of the things we've done. Mm-hmm. A lot of the older equipment, a lot of the equipment we've autopsied, and which should make a lot of people happy, and unfortunately will make some people very unhappy. Mm-hmm. Because like I say, it's an educational website, and it's made so that people can make good, they become educated enough to understand the differences in equipment. And the poor man's rife, the PMR, is part of a project I started years ago and put the information out. But we've had a lot of people that want to build something, but they can't afford the thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. But this gives us a good opportunity to have a device that they can put together, and the kit was designed in a manner that anybody can put it together.
Wow.
I don't care what kind of capabilities. If you can hold a pair of pliers and a pair of scissors, that's all you need, because all the electronics are basically already put together. Mm-hmm. You have some screw terminals that you've got to tighten down. Most of the things mount with tie wraps, at least as the design is right now. The plasma tube, we are working with our manufacturer over in Romania to come up with a special plasma tube specifically that's optimized for the range that this works in. The coil and some of the electronics are being tweaked right now so that we can get a device out that almost anybody can afford. The information is still going to be put out there so that they can scrounge stuff without that. They don't have to buy the kit. They can at least get something put together that they can use and understand. Now, the big issue is that this gives us a platform to really describe the differences between our commercial products, our commercial plasma products, and this EM type device. Then people it makes it so that we don't have to really attack or criticize any of the other equipment out there that's available through other manufacturers, but it will give us the opportunity to do comparisons through it with an educational process so that people know what to look for, the important aspects of both the waveform, the frequency ranges, all sorts of aspects, which we will be discussing in subsequent articles. But the big questions people will then have to ask is, we will be describing what the difference between our equipment and that device is. The big problem is, what's the difference between that and the other devices out there that are thousands of dollars? And the truth of the matter is, not much. And that's where the real eye-opening should occur. It will be a good thing for the people, because they will understand that we've always thought that an educated consumer is a good consumer. They're better able to utilize the devices. It's not a magic box to them. They begin to understand it, and they know what to look for when they're really going to start spending money on a device. Okay. And probably one of the things that we haven't mentioned yet is that the device is going to be under $500. And
very good.
Well, it gets better than that. I've already made arrangements through the Pulse Tech sales website that they will be actually distributing and keeping track of those. And anybody that's bought one of those devices will be able to get full credit for it whatever the ending price ends up being, they will get full credit on that if they decide to purchase any of our P3 devices. Plus, they get to keep the device. They keep the other device to share with a friend. And
awesome.
So
okay,
so it makes it into a zero cost thing for them before it's over with.
Incredible. So I think the thing that I would like to get out to the listeners is that just like, and Jimmie made reference to this before, just like oil has been turned into a monopoly, and that we have been enslaved by oil because there has been and is technology out there that we can get 60, 70, 80 miles to the gallon. Okay. But the system is so controlled that all we get is, we see 35 and we're like, ooh, look at that, man. I want that car. But the thing is that it has been monopolized. It has been controlled. Medicine has been done the same way. The Flexner report was an inventory of all of the healthcare facilities in America to be able to find out what they were doing, much like it was kind of like a personal NSA spying technique where they just send someone out there to do an inventory. And what happens is, through the ill-gotten gains of scumbags like the Rockefellers, like the Carnegies, and these people that wanted to monopolize, and control everything that they could, they offered money to these healthcare facilities to get them to move towards a more allopathic, more synthetic drug-related style of healthcare. And then, of course, not only, did they combine it, because there is petroleum based chemicals inside of these drugs as well. That was almost, knowing why they did this.
Well, it's patentable. That was the reason.
Completely understand that at some point they were going to be putting all of these chemicals in there, and basically they're killing you. They're killing you. And under the guise of keeping you healthy, Obamacare is just going to put this whole thing into light speed. And companies like Pulse Technologies are out there killing pathogens. The real true cause of disease is really never talked about. Where is it? Where's this cure for cancer? Where's this cure for diabetes? Where's this cure for anything? They don't want you to know. They control the system like, just unbelievably. They control the flow of information. They control the FDA. They control what the FDA approves. They control all this stuff. And if there's even any research out there or some, people that are trying to do good, they're shut down, they're attacked, all that other stuff, all those other things. It's all to maintain control over the masses, to control their health, to control their transportation through oil, to control the world. That's what their goal was, and they're close to achieving it. Jordan, go ahead and tell the listening audience out there who you are and what you do in this realm of healthcare.
Well, I'm Jordan DeYoung, and I'm a clinical technician, so I operate Jimmie's devices in a medical office under the direction of it.
Awesome. Okay, and we've been doing shows here. This is actually the second program with Jimmie, and I've done numerous program broadcasts with Jordan, talking about how Lyme disease is an epidemic that is being suppressed. How bad it is being suppressed because they don't want people to know. Jimmie, Jordan, can you speak to that?
You want to go first? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I work in these clinics, and I worked in a Lyme specific clinic, and I saw so many positive blood work come back to people with Lyme. I got in an argument with people, and it was over. I was saying I probably had it, and I got positive blood work based off of that, and it was all based on that. I've always I've done biofeedback with radionics type devices for like 13 years or so, and I've always treated it as energy imbalances or supplements, and looking at correcting that as opposed to what antibiotic I need to be on. And I think I've fared a lot better, especially financially, than a lot of these other Lyme patients that have come in. It seems like there's always there's always another test for Lyme, but the solutions people seem to find on their own through diet or through using certain equipment.
Mm-hmm. So people come to you, and we've had people that you have treated call in, and they're out there and they spend their money, and they've basically wasted it trying to help themselves. They're trying to live a better life, so they do whatever they can do to achieve that. And then when they get to you, their situation changes drastically because what this technology, this energy medicine is helping to eradicate or at least subdue these bacteria that are in the body. This engineered Lyme disease was engineered. It was created. It's not something that evolved, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But people have come to you and they've gotten the quality of their life and their health has been greatly improved. Is that correct?
Usually what happens is people are at the end of the line and they've done everything allopathic and they might not even know what's going on with their body. And I use the decision point software like the Zyto to help point blood work in the right direction so they can get something confirmed. So sometimes they don't even know what possibly is going on, and that's where the doctors utilize me and the Zyto software and see where the reactions lie. And then they might use the Pulse Tech stuff and do self-therapy in the office. I don't treat or diagnose any disease there, and that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you better not, right?
Yeah, I better not.
And what is that? I mean, last time we had Jimmie on, Jimmie, you do a lot of this research and everything is done in Europe?
Yes, and some of it now in the United States. It's taken me 20 years, but we have finally gotten together a group of labs that have no pharmaceutical entanglements, and that's very, very hard to do nowadays.
Right.
Is that kind of, if the pharmaceutical company gives you one penny, then you're tied into them forever?
Well, it's not so much that. It is that a lot of these labs, they rely on a lot of their income from various types of pharmaceutical testing and things like that, and that's what keeps them in business. Well, we've found a group of labs that none of their income comes from that. They are completely independent of that. So they're able to do some of they have the right certifications, the right resources, and so we're able to utilize that now. Plus, we're working on some projects jointly that are of great benefit to them. We're working on, a lot of really interesting things. The MRSAs was actually a side venture off of the real goal, which I can't really go into right now. But the fact of the matter is we are able to do some of the things in the United States now that I never thought we would be able to. But it took 20 years to gather and locate and get into this situation. But we have.
So the whole reason I came into Pulse Technologies is because I was working with another company at a PEMF device, and I did, someone did some self-treatment for, kidney stones, and there was validation before X-ray that these kidney stones were there, and then they weren't there. And the company didn't seem to care at all. And on top of that, I would, do different trainings and help these other technicians, better utilize their equipment. And I came across Jimmie's stuff, which then I paid attention to, online, and then they came out with the Candida, study out of Romania. And that's when I bought it and put these two devices head to head. Which is really like a $2,000 device versus a $20,000 device. Mm-hmm. And the outcome showed that the $2,000 device was, worked a lot better than the $20,000 device. So that's how I came into the pulse technology world.
Okay. So the last time you were on, Jimmie, you talked about treating people and the ability to diagnose, in a sense, I don't want to say the wrong things here, but in order to find the level at which the body is, out of balance or imbalanced. I did a Zyto session with Jordan, and he pointed out things that were going on that I knew that I had never said to him. He pointed out my adrenal output was very high, and he also pointed out that I had vertebrae in my neck that were subluxated or out of alignment, and just told me all these different things that and overall I was very pleased that I got a pretty good report at the end. And not only that, I also was able to, I knew things, that I could eat, products and different types of foods that I could eat more of, or that I should eat more of, things like that. You mentioned that when you're dealing with this energy medicine and you're doing some sort of session, that it's killing these pathogens. And the most amazing thing to me that I heard you say was that it sent out that this bacteria. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, but there was like a death sequence or a death code that was sent out that would also kill that same bacteria within a mile of that location. Or you remember when we spoke about that?
We're on our fourth round of, actually, I'll get into that a little bit.
Okay.
Gurvich back in the 1920s, realized that the cells were giving off what he called a mitogenic ray. There was cellular communication going on, between the cells, like, the cells of, a same, strain. And, in other words, they're relatives. And in our MRSA testing that we've done recently, the tests that were set up very elaborate to show different things. We got the pathogens from the worst case scenarios from 3 different labs. And these are ones that are all been certified, absolutely antibiotic resistance. They were their worst cases, but we got them from 3 different sources for a reason. We knew we would have 3 completely different strains. Our first round that we did, we killed it everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I had put the pathogens hadn't been shielded from one another. We had some here, we had the ones that were exposed, and we had the ones that were, set aside. They were actually set in a safe, but it was a steel line safe. And then we had the others that were 43 miles away in a freezer, which was of course steel lined. Well, the pathogens died all three places. There was kill off all three places. Now, it wasn't the plasma that was talking to the others in the safe and in the freezer. It was the first time we only killed one of the three sets, but we killed it all three places, which meant the communication was going on. But the frequencies we were using were only good for one of the sets. The other two sets were still not being addressed. They had mutated even farther than that set had mutated.
So
our second, third, and fourth, we got even more elaborate, and it turns out we were able to kill all three sets in all three locations, but this time the original lab, or the consolidation lab, which was 650 miles away, also recorded kill off.
So I believe the exact thing that you said before was a death instruction.
Yes, it appears to be that. We're not creating it in with the plasma. The pathogen itself is actually giving off that instruction. It's a non-electromagnetic phenomena. It's actually would be referred to as a non-localized event. In reality, all these pathogens are in the same place. This distance and everything we are putting on it, it gets into quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, it's called a non-localized event. To be more specific, it's this communication that's going on is referred to as a quantum entanglement of photon pairs. The DNA is actually giving off light. Fritz Popp, the German biophysicist, and Nobel Prize winner, he got the Nobel Prize for this, showed that all cells give off light. And it's these photons of light, that communication is apparently occurring on those photons, on and between those photons of light.
Wow.
The distance really is irrelevant to them. And I just happened to notice there was several weeks after we did this experiment, or our initial experiments, that I noticed, I read a small article about that one of the things that was going on the space station, one of the experiments that was being done, was they were attacking MRSAs with plasma, with cold plasmas on the space station. And I think, why would they be doing that up there when they could just as easily be doing it down here? Well, I know the reason, or I'm sure I know the reason, and I have to say it's speculation, is because they were also watching samples down here on Earth. I doubt that they will ever release that information, but the fact of the matter is it's what we've seen over and over again in our testing. Mm-hmm. And, it's something I kind of expected to see. I just didn't expect it to be shown so easily. But the fact of the matter is, this is a known phenomena. It's been recorded and documented over and over through history. Largely it's Soviet work, but and that's where I think that's where most of the documentation lies. But it has been demonstrated in the United States, over the last, better part of a century.
Okay. Though I made a kind of a general, statement to you of something that I thought about any number of times about MRSA in hospitals and people getting these staph infections. And I said to you, the only way that I believe that this can be happening, and happening at such a rate, is that the equipment that gets shipped into the hospital already has the MRSA on it. And you said that's correct.
Well, I think it's just out of control in the hospitals.
Okay, all right.
And because of the amount of antibiotics used in the hospitals, that's where its worst case scenario is. Mm-hmm. It gets exposure to the most antibiotics, and that is the place where it is given the opportunity to mutate the most. So therefore it's going to be the worst problem.
Wow.
And in the hospitals and in our cattle feedlots and things like that, that's where it's going to be the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like cases out of those areas are more serious than, like person to person outside of a hospital transmission or something like this.
Yeah, I was working about a month ago with a doctor here in the Dallas area. He had a lady that just knew everything he was doing was quackery. It was evidently a friend or associate of his. And she had gotten something with her thumb in the hospital and got a MRSA infection on her finger. It was something very minor, but before it was over with, it was life-threatening. And all the doctors they said she had no choice but to have her thumb removed. And it apparently even showed her where they would have to remove it, drew the lines. And all of a sudden she said, well, some of this quackery might not be so bad. And, I, in a discussion with that doctor, I said, that really isn't that hard of a problem to deal with. And using he was able to get her to utilize one of the simplest device. And this is a good example of when the plasma is not necessarily the way to go. It's a simple contact device, but with a combination of, we'll get into Ivan Danhoff in a few minutes, I think, but he's considered the father of aloe vera. He's an absolutely brilliant doctor. Working with him on several things, but he has an aloe gel, which, if anything you know about aloe vera came from him. Mm-hmm. The doctor utilized a combination of imprinted colloidal silver and mixed it with that aloe gel and then used that as a conductive gel right on the thumb. Then the other electrode could go anywhere. And with only a couple of sessions, they saved that lady's finger. I mean, her whole arm had been infected. Her whole body, it was systemic throughout her body. She was in bad shape.
Right.
And was not going to survive. But something as simple as that MRSA infection, once it goes systemic in your body, you're in bad shape.
Yeah. I heard a story of a woman who had a child and in the area in the company that I work with, and then she got this like massive lung infection, and bam, gone.
Yeah.
Baby good, but she lost her life.
And it can happen very, very quickly with that, from what I understand. But this was a sample. What something as simple as this is able to do something that something as simple as this that the person can do themselves.
Right.
Work far better than anything all the doctors and the hospitals were able to throw at it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because their thinking was not in the right place.
Right.
Yeah, what I see with the stuff that I do is that people are dealing with a combination of issues, say molds and bacteria and viral all at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. And what they do is they'll load on antibiotics. Like they'll find a bacteria and say, let's go after this, and then the mold gets worse. And it happens, seems like every single time.
Wow. It's just, they're just shooting fish in a barrel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, Jordan, when when you go in and you do these Zyto sessions, you get readings for Candida, you get readings for all these other things, and that correlates with the level of disease that they'll come to you and they'll say, yeah, I've been having this, I've been having problems sleeping, I've been having problems with digestion, and then you go in there, you do the remote Zyto session, and you find all these things, and you're like, well, this is why, and then of course you share it with them, but in your head you're like, oh, I've seen this before, this is probably the reason why this is happening, I've seen this, and then you focus on eradicating that through energy medicine and or natural supplements, colloidal silver, whatever.
Yeah, Zyto did a good video explaining their technology as far as what they were saying is energizing different parts of the body or different pathogens, and then seeing if they can get a response after trying to energize these things. And so they're they're explaining it like a MRI or a sonar. They're energizing these things, which then show up in the computer report. And if I get enough correlations, it seems to work pretty well. I put this, I added that to my Zyto playlist, how Zyto works, on my YouTube, which is youtube.com /OnDemedJedi, ONDAMEDJEDI.
Awesome. Yes, that's right. Yeah, Jordan has any number of, we have any number of old broadcasts or broadcasts from the last 6 or 8 months up there as well, so you can listen to that. And Jimmie, you said something about you wanted to get into it was a particular person's name.
Oh, yeah. Actually, there was something that you had mentioned earlier. Y'all were actually talking about DMT earlier, and I think one of the things that we've been interested in is the emulation of certain molecules. One of the first ones I did was I did some calculations for the dopamine molecule, and I think Jordy was one of the first people that we had. Of course, we don't have direct contact with the people. I mean, in a one-on-one environment. So I gave that molecule to Jordy for testing, just to see if there was any sort of reaction. I think he had was having a group session of some sort.
It seems to work perfectly about every time I do it. When I've looked into dopamine, it shows that dopamine's inside immunity. And I don't know if you charge up the dopamine, you can charge up the immune cells. People really seem to like it and appreciate it, that's for sure. And it gives that dopamine type of effect too, where it can snap me out of if I'm in a funk, if I'm, feeling bad or depressed, it can lift me out of it sometimes in 10 seconds, it seems like.
Well, the thing was could we emulate these molecules or emulate the signal that they are doing? We're actually working on some things where we actually can hopefully eventually read almost any molecule and try to duplicate it. DMT is another one I figured out, but I haven't seen any direct response on that one.
I don't have that set.
Well, I haven't given that one out to anybody yet. But anyway, Ivan Danhoff is considered the father of aloe vera. Years ago, there was a drug that was developed that he actually developed, and it went.
Hey, Jimmie, can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
And Jules, if you're out there, we would like to go into a third hour. So if you're listening, is it possible to get that set up to continue into the third hour? Thanks. Go ahead, Jimmie. Go ahead and continue.
Anyway, there was a drug. You can actually read about it on we may be putting the history of it, but it had to do with a very special extract, and they were having incredible results with it. I actually, the FDA got involved. They were using 100. They were doing a clinical trial, and they were using 100 terminal patients that were given up on as terminal by one of the major cancer clinics. And when they were having these total remissions in large numbers from it, that's when they came in and snapped everything, shut everything down. And although they prevailed in court, it still cost them millions of dollars. And that stuff was never resurrected. It is now considered a controlled substance. I was able to get Ivan Danhoff to sit down with me and talk me through the molecule, or talk me through it molecule by molecule, what it was doing. And in the process of doing so, realized that I didn't realize it, but you have all your white blood cells already have an anti-carcinogenic material within them that it will upon instruction give off. There is other things that go on. Actually, there was 5 things that this particular molecule did, all to the white blood cells, and I realized what it was doing when it attached this molecule, which is actually a long chain sugar, very, very long chain sugar, was literally a program. It was not used up in any manner. It literally attached in many the same ways that we would consider inserting a floppy disk into a computer to just run a program. That's all it was doing. It was not used up in any way. But it gave 5 specific instructions that the cell began doing, which it was stepping up the immune system, giving off the anti-carcinogen, resetting the body temperature, and when I say stepping up the immune system, it gave the instruction to start replication of the white blood cells, step them up as well. But anyhow, I realized it was not used up in any way, that it was a signal that it was giving. And I asked if it was possible, if we may be able to duplicate that signal, and then that could possibly be something that could be modulated on the plasma eventually, or applied directly as an electronic signal, so that no pharmaceutical, no drug ever it doesn't have to be given. Now, this of course won't work with everything, but there are many things that apparently we can emulate. And some of our testing has shown that, it can be done. And this is one of our goals for that. And how many people would be willing to, he's almost a saint. He doesn't care anything about the sale of that drug. He probably has less of a opinion of the drug companies than we do. But the fact of the matter is, he's more than willing to allow this to occur so that it could end up costing nothing. But anyway.
Before we get into the second hour, I found some papers relating to electrical stimulation of certain points and fat metabolism. Like killing MRSA and stuff, it's great, but people really want to shed pounds, and I found some articles that kind of confirm this.
Wow.
Actually, there's quite a bit there. And the contact method, the cheap method, is actually a very good way of doing that. You can get the exercise, and you can get the release of certain chemicals within the body to actually start breaking up and using the fat, even getting the runners high.
We're getting ready to go into the third hours. We've been set up to do that. I have Jimmie Holman from Pulse Technologies and Jordan DeYoung, energy medicine guru, and we're going to we're sliding into the third hour here. We're going to continue talking about energy medicine and recent developments and the basis of energy medicine and how it and why it's important and what it can do for people experiencing health issues across the board. All right. So I'm going to my Mac has been just doing some really weird things. All right, so let's see here.
Did it get pancreatic cancer?
What's that?
Did it get pancreatic cancer?
Who?
Your Mac?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just I'm trying to pull up a QuickTime Player so that I can record the and it just seems to, I've got it here, but it just seems like it just doesn't want to click. Things are just kind of freezing up on me, so I don't want to push it for fear that, it's the system that's holding us all together here. It's the system that it's binding us together.
There's no problem so difficult that it can't be solved with brute strength and force, right?
That's right. All right, let's see here. 1 second. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Yeah, for some reason it doesn't want to pull QuickTime up. Maybe I can figure it some other way, or is it already open? Looks like it might be.
Sounds like you're operating off of a compact.
Yeah, I'm here it is. Wait a minute. All right, I'm gonna start recording. That way I'll be able to get this to you later, Jordan, and you can get the third hour up there on YouTube, whatever you see fit to do with it. Send it to the NSA or.
They have it already.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll give you a copy.
Maybe they will. All right. So I guess at this point, since you guys are you're at the cutting edge of all this stuff, what direction do you want to, what new developments are out there? What direction do you